Okay, the following diagram examines the benefit of using trading house for overseas market development. Okay. In the previous sect, we have studied, we have alternative for the overseas, marketing, because we will face the lots of obstacles which is different from domestic or cross-border trading. It's a different category, different pace. Okay, uh, but as using trade house, we can avoid and better entrance to a new market which is quite unfamiliar with. Okay, because these intermediary agent, so-called trade house in case of Canada, has a lot of experience with a specific market and specific product. Actually, not general. So you should be very careful once you choose prof. Once you choose the trading house as an intermediary connector. Okay, uh, because each trade house as an intermediary connector has it's a specific, meaning that they are expertise for certain area and certain product. Okay, so it's not in general. So you should be very specific, very specific once you choose your agent as a connecting your buyer and you. Okay, uh, uh, for example, okay, this is general flow chart. This is general flow chart. Okay, uh, we have the manufacturers here, small and medium-sized enterprise. Okay, proceed to proceed, the marketing overseas, you need your internal organizations, and you need your manpower to handle this one well. Okay, so for example, and oh, sorry. Okay, let's see. Okay. Sorry. So okay. Here you can see, and then sales force, for example. Okay, here. I will go up more. Okay, I'll go up more. Okay. Okay, here. Okay. Sales force. So sales force meaning that we need the marketing. So the sales force is in another word, we can express as the marketing. Okay, the marketing, in case of marketing, stand for for fee. Okay, this is the initial for the starting letters, like product, price, okay, promotions, praise. Okay, this is, we generally call this one the POP. Okay, POP. And manufacturing agent and distributor. Okay, you need some agent or distributor. There is some little difference between agent and distributor, but sometimes they use at the same time. Okay, so I don't think it's necessary to distinct between these two agents. Okay, these two intermediary organization, whether it is agent, whether it is called as agent, or whether it is called as distributors. No difference, because sometimes distributor play a role as a agent. On the contrary, the agent play a role as a distributor, according to the circumstance and conditions. Okay, so I think in this day there is no benefit for us to distinguish between two organizations. So they use confused. Okay, so whatever they use their role, if they makes a good performance, I think it's worth of it. Okay, it's worth of it. Anyway, the manufacturing agents distributor, okay, and also we need as internal export department, okay, export department. So at least these organizations and these structures should be composed of to explore the foreign market. Okay, it's very complicated job. Okay, it's sometimes nuisance. Okay, because this is time consuming. This is the capital consuming, and also you must sustain your effort to make a good outcome at least from 2 to 3 years. Okay, so the management should be very patient for that, right? We have already mentioned regarding that. Okay, uh, so as a subsidiary, the content, let's see the more detail. Okay, okay, sales force represent the marketing and the product, price, promotion, price. Okay, this is the key, the factors for the marketing. Also, you need to the channel for distributing. Okay, using by agent or using by distributor. Anyway, you need a channel to distribute your product. Okay, in the local area. This is a local area. Okay? So you need it for yourself marketing, and this is separate from your customer, broker, and transport and warehouse. It's necessary also, to proceed, new, market abroad. Okay, so this is things. Okay, this is thing, and also let's see the another department of export department. The role of export department was that okay, but as this illustration express, export department and trading house play a same role. Okay, uh, the export department, if export department want alternative for this duty, he can use as alternative, he can choose trading house as a representative of trading department. Okay, I mean the export department, because this task is very difficult job. Okay, and also requires lots of experience and accumulated expertise like that. Okay, so if this job is replaced by trading house, this company will be easily settled in new market. Okay, then let's see in detail. Okay, so identification. Okay, identification, market, client. Okay, prior to step into the new area, the company needed to identify what is the market like and what is the the characteristic of the client. Okay, so you have to send your representative sometimes in the local area to detect this kind of identification. Okay, identification of market. How is the market like, and how is the the customs, the characteristic like that. Okay, so you need a very detailed survey of these two identification prior to you step in new market, because you should because you want to you want to save your foreign cost. Foreign cost meaning that the cost as a foreigner. Okay, the cost as a foreigner for what? For new land, for new area. Okay, with a new market and new client. Because once you travel to other very quiet unfamiliar area, okay, once it is getting dark, you will be very scared. Okay, so because you don't know, you have no any ignitions of your geographical or cultural or any your acquaintance. If there's no information regarding that, because of darkness, you will try to go the landmark of accommodation, like a very big hotel, okay, 4-star hotel or 5-star hotel, whatever, because you want to avoid that scary situations, right? Okay, but if you are indigenous people, you are native of there, you don't have to hurry up because you know what's going on, even it getting darker, okay? You detect it will be a very dangerous, or sometimes you detect even getting darker, it will be safer, or whatever information you know. But according to the circumstance and situations, you will have your alternative, okay? Okay, if you feel any scary, uh, also, even you are domestic people, you feel any scary, okay? You will find to your cheaper accommodation because you know where the cheaper accommodation is located, okay? Then that is because the difference between the foreigner and domestic people, okay? Because the foreigner in this case, they are hurry to find the safer accommodations, so they will see and they will follow the landscaper. It's a big, hotel with a shining, uh, you know, signal. Okay, uh, that is the cost. That is the unnecessary cost. Okay, you don't have to pay for that big hotel. Even you can go to, if you know where to the geographic circumstance, you don't have to go there. Paying for several times. Then you pay for the cheap one, right? Understand? Okay, that is the foreign cost. That's because the company tried to get the identification of market and client in local area, okay, prior to you step in new market. To save that kind, what kind? The foreign cost, as I just mentioned, right? That kind of cost, the cost which is not necessary, okay? You can save that kind of cost as you detect enough prior to you step in the new market, okay? Okay, then once you have completed identification, market and client, next phase you have to proceed is definition and specification, product adaptations. Okay, you have your product, you have your own product, and you are the expert for that product. Then you have to detect whether the specification and the definitions of your product adaptations. Whether you have to survey your market, whether my product can be sold. If can be sold, what is the pricing? What is the positioning? My product is considered as a higher quality or medium or lower. Okay, and what was my customers category? Rich, medium, or full? Okay, like that. You can divide it. That is the product adaptations and definition specifications. Okay, so in this job, it is also very difficult to detect because you have to know the culture of that market, and not only culture but also you have to detect economical, social, law, political circumstances of that area. That is very important job also. So it is meaning that, in other words, this is very difficult job as a newcomer to a very strange area. Okay, so that is also the obstacle you will face with once you go out for new market. Okay, after that, you have to decide your exporting price. What is the exporting price? The exporting price is the price which is properly sold in new market. The price must be competitive because you have already your competitor of that market. So you have to be very careful, and you have to consider all category of product and the pricing level of each category product. So you have to decide, and also you need a survey of your custom in the field by your distributing the interview or the paper, paying for some your gratitude for answering your consultations. Anyway, to your questionnaire, your custom should be applied. So you need for some any your gratifications, paying for some the gift or some pricing, whatever method, okay, as a compensation for filling in your questionnaire, okay. This statistic is very important because to consider, and you can analyze your custom, and you can analyze market, and all information can be contained in that questionnaire, okay. Anyway, by this way you can decide the exporting price and whatever, okay. And then you will go next phase as the negotiations, okay. The negotiation, meaning that the negotiation has your payback, okay, your payback, your money, you're collecting your money, you're collecting your money, okay, and how you will collecting your money like that, okay, as you distribute your product, you need to collect your money, 그죠? As a compensations. And next, financial and payment. Financial and payment also is very critical one. Okay, we have two ways. Okay, financing the payment directly you can collect the money. Also, corrections. The correction is the deferred, the postponed, postponed payment, the payment on credit. In certain period after you provide your product, you will get paid, right? We call that the corrections. Okay, correction. Whatever you share your product by inside a payment. Okay, payment directly paid by money. We call this one payment or corrections. Correction meaning that, as I told you, as a deferred payment, as a credit payment, you will get paid after some period once once you distribute your product, okay. And also you need the documentation purposes, okay. The documentation need this is very nuisance, okay. This is very sometimes very complicated because you need the documentation for what? Different from domestic marketing, the documentation need in overseas because in case of overseas trading, the product should pass the custom line, custom clearance. For custom clearance, the custom of each country require you the documentation need to consider to evaluate for taxations and tariff or the tariff free, the exempt of tariff, whatever. Okay. Anyway, you need the documentations. The documentation include the packing list, the commissary invoice, and bill of lading, and other inspection documentations. The lots of documentations which can be decided by, between two parties, seller and, uh, custom, and also documentations of necessary for considerations of custom. Okay, this documentation should be also done by company export department, or once the export department of company decide to work with the trading house as alternative, then alternative trading house will, responsible for that. Okay, anyway, this is one thing necessary pace for international trading, and routing, transport, also transport, and routing transport, meaning that, okay, we have to decide where to go, okay, with your product, like that. Okay, you can arrange, you can plan your transport, of your product. Okay, you have several customer, and you have to get the plan for transportations, the which one first and which one second, like that. Okay, and claims, you will face sometimes, but the least claim will be the best succeed in international tradings, because once you face the claims, very complication will be occurred, because different from domestic, the far distance trading overseas, in case, it's not easy to settle down the claim, because your chance to sit together and talk together is very less. Okay, also you have to decide where you will have the judgment, which code you will, use. Okay, that should be not, that should be decided prior to you proceed your, trading. Because in the international conflict, like, the international claim, there is no certain, law and, regulation decided. It should be done, and it should be negotiated between two parties, seller and buyer. Okay, if not decided prior to your trading, and once the claim occurred, you will have quite difficult. Okay, because first we have to settle down where we will have a judgment, and what court you will use, and what law should be applied, should be decided, meaning that you should take a longer time to settle down your claim. Okay, as the longer the claim is not settled down, you will have more damage. Okay, and client customer relations. Also, after sales, you need to constant, sustainable, contact with your client. Okay, because your customer and your client is the next buyer after they are using your product. Once they satisfied with your product, they will again to claim your product too. So not only exploring new client and customer, but existing client and customer is very important to you. More important than finding new customer. Existing customer and client is already has loyalty to your product. Easier to persuade and easier let them buy a new one. Okay, so the client and customer relation is very important. Okay, but we will facing, once you try to client and customer relations, we will facing the language barriers and other cultural barriers. Okay, lots of barriers and obstacles. So this job also very important. Okay, risk coverage, insurance currency also. should be considered as one of the most important job in international trading. Okay, you should make an insurance for each product which is discharged from your factory to local area. Okay, also once you have some occurrence of the accident occurrence, okay, and the settle down of the insurance is also very difficult. The custom clearance, as I told you, this is international trading, so different from domestic trading. You should get process, due process, passing custom clearance. Okay, each customs has very strict clearance regulation and standard. Okay, so this job is also one of the expertise should be handled. Okay, and packing and warehouse too. Consolidations. Packing and warehouse is packing your luggage, okay, your product, and put them in warehouse. Consolidation is put them in containerized. Okay, in the container to strengthen not to be hot while the aviations or while the noisy. Okay, you should strengthen your parcel inside the container, okay, to make it fixed inside, okay, by wooden or by whatever devices according to the product. Okay, so we call this one consolidations. So consolidation is also handled in international trading. Okay, so up to now we have scanned all tasks we have to handle once we jump in international trading. Okay, you can handle this by your own internal organization, department, export department. Also, as an alternative of the export department, you can work with the trading house. Trading house will responsible for all of these, okay, and they will willing to handle instead of and on behalf of your company. Okay, it's according to your circumstance. Okay, once you start with the trading house, later on, once you are accustomed to your market, the new market, you can change it into your internal export department, okay, or on the contrary, okay, whatever according to your the firm's circumstance or according to your firm's internal manpower ability. It's depending on each circumstance. Okay, so you can consider that one. But prior to, as I told you, here, okay, here national marketing and cross-border market is quite different, okay, from these job. International marketing then exporting is quite overseas exporting need a quite additional very expertise jobs like these. Okay, so the reason why I introduce this scheme and this diagram is you have to keep in mind prior to you jumping into the export. Okay, so this diagram will give you a good example and examine. Okay, what will be done, what should be done once we go into a new market. Okay, next time we'll go into in detail more. Thank you.